What's going on? Season 3, episode 78 of the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Michael Marcanio. I'm the host with the most, and I'm here with my people. These are my people, my children. I'm here on the right first this time. We got Anthony Ravelis, still also known as Stone Cold Billabong Boy. Stone Cold Billabong Bitch.
I don't appreciate that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You should probably take it back.
But listen.
No, I say you should probably take it back.
Okay, I'll take it back. I apologize for my outburst. And then we also got Tyler Ravelis on the left, also known as It's Your Boy T.
I got a question here. Who wins in a fight? 3 Mikes or 1 Anthony?
Probably. Dude, 3 mics? You don't got faith in me like that?
Dude, he's so tall. He has all that reach.
I do have.
You got so many legs, dude.
You're right.
6 legs.
I do.
By the way, Mike would lose to everyone I know in a race.
That's crazy. Yeah, we were talking off air. Because I'm always saying how I beat Tyler in a race, but
it's not going to happen.
But anyways, let's talk about what we're talking about today. We're going to go over who to start and sit in last week of the regular season, right? Some people are in playoffs.
I believe.
Are some people in playoffs?
No, generally not. Week 14 is when they start.
Oh, because some people go into 17. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, but
I know
yes.
you're at. That's why.
Regular season. It's last week. This is a make or break for everyone in fantasy football. Even if you're 10-2 like me, it is make or break because I want that number 1 seed. So it's very important.
And like me.
Dude, in a year with COVID, number 1 seed is important.
Yeah.
Because you saw what happened last week. It's like that could happen next week in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it could derail your whole fucking situation. So it's like
you're talking about like the
Ravens and Steelers game.
Yeah.
Like for all we know, that could be heading into all of a sudden happen on
like every game
tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it could happen next week. So it's like the bye is important to me in that situation.
Yeah.
And then you don't know like what star player is going to go down with COVID. I mean, as cases rise in normal life, they're rising in the NFL. So it's, to me, this year's the bye is important.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely
important. But yes, so very important stuff. Before we start, this episode of the podcast is being streamed live on Periscope, which is on Twitter, and on Twitch. So those links are down below if you're listening in the future. If you want to comment and ask us some questions, we got your back.
Like chiropractic?
Yeah, like chiropractors.
No, just one chiropractic.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so if you want to do that, go ahead. If you don't have time for the entire episode, go and look in the table of contents within the description as well. It gives you a full breakdown of everything we talk about when we talk about it. So if you just need some running back help, you can click on the running back timestamp, and it will take you right to that part of the episode that's on YouTube. If you're listening to us on audio, it's not clickable, but you can still scroll through. Boy, you're just really dropping the ball as an audio guy. I see what you're doing. Anyways, but yeah, so if you haven't already, subscribe to us on the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast app. If you want to leave us a rating and review, that helps us out big time too. Follow us on all of our social medias if you want any help throughout the week. We got your back that way. So we'll be streaming these live all the time. So, get that notification bell so that way you know when we're going. But just like that, let's get into the episode, what we're talking about. We're going to start with some quarterbacks first. Keep it going. No. Okay. All right, let's get into it. We're going to start with the quarterbacks first. We'll go through our starts first. I think Anthony's up first. We got Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, and you can carry this over to if Tua starts as well.
Wait, who?
Tua Tagovailoa.
I just wanted to hit that one.
I'm okay with Tua if he actually gets started, but I actually think it's Fitzpatrick that gets a nod. Reason being is Cincinnati defense, not bueno. Offense, not bueno. Miami is short on running backs this week. we believe we might have Myles Gaskins, and that's decision won't be made until right before the game. So it's like he has no practice with the team because he's been coming off IR. So there's no practice with the game plan with the team. We've seen Fitzmagic and green rated matchups go over 20 points in 4 to 5 matchups. So it's just all the scenarios, all the arrows are pointing towards a good matchup for Fitzpatrick or the Dolphins quarterback. So I'm rolling with the Dolphins quarterback.
Yeah, and I think having Fitz, too, he kind of helps guys like Devante Parker and even Gasecki. I think Gasecki only has 3 touchdowns on the year, but all 3 of them are in games with Fitzmagic throwing the ball back there. So
yeah, dude.
Should be an easy win for the Dolphins.
And you know what? If press conference, he fucks.
Just like that, start Ryan Fitzpatrick. Okay. We'll go on to my guy here. We got Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I get that. Kirk Cousins is a good streaming quarterback, I feel like.
Yeah.
Going up against the Jaguars. Jaguars are not good. I mean, I don't know if there's much else I could say about that. They're giving up a decent amount to quarterbacks. They're one of the worst defenses in the league. I think it's just a horny play in general. If you need to stream somebody, maybe you have Tom Brady. Maybe you need somebody.
Maybe,
he's available in a lot of leagues too as well. So he's a good streaming quarterback for this week. Decent matchup. I like it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. And so one of my leagues, this might sound crazy. Well, it could be partially crazy, but I'm considering starting Kirk Cousins over Kyler Murray.
Really?
Just based off the matchup and based off of, it could be tough because I do have a bye, but it's Kyler Murray's shoulder last week showed me a lot. He didn't run the ball the same way he ran the ball. This isn't start Kirk Cousins over Kyler Murray. This is more of an indictment of how I think of Kirk Cousins this week. To your point, is I'm actually I probably won't do it, but I'm just thinking about it for a second. So it's if you have that thought of okay, this guy is Kyler Murray is the top 5 quarterback week in and week out, but I'm considering is Kirk Cousins a better option? It's just kind of more of an indictment of I actually have the thought process of do you start I'm valuing Kirk Cousins at high, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was telling you, Mike, off air, some of the rankings, I think it was on Fantasy Pros maybe, they had Justin Jefferson and Thielen both ranked in the top 10 for plays this week. So, I mean, who's throwing the football? It's Kirk Cousins. So, I mean, if they're going to be potentially 2 top 10 wide receivers, that just bodes well for a guy like Kirk Cousins. He's coming off a good matchup last week, too. I think he finished as the QB3 on the week last week.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have 2 top 10 wide receivers, that means you're throwing for at least 202.
Yeah.
With just those guys alone.
Yeah.
So it just kind of, like I said, we're kind of pointing towards both of us are saying that solid start.
Yeah.
Solid start.
I think you put up 27 points, 2,500 points.
He's been solid. Legit. It's been 20, depending on your league, at least 20 points in the last 3 or 4 weeks, I believe.
This is that Bears game even. Okay, let's go on to Tyler's guy here. We got Mitch Trubisky. He's saying start him.
Yeah, I mean, it's week 13. I know it's, the clutch time for a lot of teams trying to get into the playoffs. And I can't believe I'm saying start Mitch Trubisky, but for whatever reason, Trubisky just owns the Detroit Lions. That's who he plays this week. They're going to be at home against the Lions. And just some numbers on the matchup right here and how he owns the Lions. He has exactly 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games that he's played against the Lions, and he's averaging 272 passing yards in those 4 games. So just a good matchup right here. I think we were talking off air about Allen Robinson. He might potentially be out. Obviously, if there's no Allen Robinson, that definitely is going to hurt Trubisky's value right there. But I do like Trubisky this week. As some of these other matchups, could be harder. Or if you're in a DFS play, Trubisky's probably pretty cheap. I mean, if you're telling me that the last 4 games he's pretty much getting you 3 touchdowns and 272 yards, I'm just going to follow the trend. I'm going to follow the numbers in what should be a good matchup right here. And then he also offers the safe floor of the rushing upside as well. I think he's just a better quarterback than Nick Foles. I feel like Nick Foles is streaky, but I don't know. I mean, I get it, he's a Super Bowl MVP, but I feel like at one point they were 4-1, 5-1, and then they make the switch to Nick Foles, and now they're 5-5 or 5-6 or I don't even know.
I 100% feel for fantasy, if I'm a Robinson owner or any owner, I want Trubisky in there.
Yeah.
I feel like it's at least better for my fantasy team.
Yeah.
If I'm not a Bears fan, it's like, cool, I don't give a fuck what you guys do. But I feel like I'd rather have Trubisky in there for Robinson and et cetera than Nick Foles. And I feel like to your point it is because I do feel like they run better with Trubisky.
Yeah. I like Trubisky this week. Dial him up.
And then back to your point, Mike, really fast, sorry. For the last 4 games, touchdowns for Kirk Cousins, 3, 3, 2, and 3. So your boy's been fuego.
Yeah.
He's like a hot Cheeto.
Hot like
Hansel. So hot right now.
Thank you for that.
I knew it was coming.
Take the
but
words out of my
I didn't hear it.
penis. Sit.
Like Hansel.
We got Matt Ryan. This is my sit for the week. He's going up against the New Orleans Saints. It is in Atlanta, but the Saints defense is pretty good. Just because I'm picking them for this week, I feel like Matt Ryan's going to go off because that's what Matt Ryan does. He waits till he's got a bad matchup, except for last week against the Raiders. But I don't think he actually didn't even do that well. It was like more defensive plays. So it's like when he has good matchups, he does bad. I don't know what I'm saying. So I could be wrong on this one because for some reason Matt Ryan always does this. Whenever he has a bad matchup, he'll like show up somehow. But I'm sticking with probability. We were talking off air, and I'm going sit Matt Ryan in Week 13.
Yeah, this one could maybe blow up on you. I think it depends if Julio plays. If Julio doesn't play, then Matt Ryan's just not the same without Julio. But if Julio does play, I think this could be a better game for Matt Ryan. I think Janoris Jenkins, the corner for the Saints, he's going to be out. So if he's out and then you get Julio Jones, that just kind of bodes well for them potentially.
Yeah,
offense.
I'm just echoing what Tyler said.
All right, let's go on to yours right here. We got Matthew Stafford.
Yeah, I'm just going to stay in that Chicago-Detroit Lions game, and I'll go on the opposite side, and I'm going to sit Stafford. I feel like Stafford's one of those guys where I'm like, start him in a good matchup, and he tanks it, and then I'll be like, sit him, and then he'll have a monster game. But yeah, but I'm going to sit him this week. They're at Chicago. I mean, the Bears' defense is definitely one of the better defenses in the NFL. I mean, they're top 10 against the pass. And they haven't allowed a single quarterback all season to top 300 passing yards. So, like, the ceiling is just not really there. And actually, in 7 of the 11 games, they've actually held quarterbacks to under 250 passing yards. I mean, no, Kenny Galladay's out again. I mean, we'll see if Swift plays. That'll help, for, like, dump-offs out of the backfield. But, I mean, I just don't like this. I just don't like this matchup right here for Stafford.
Gross.
I agree.
It's gross.
It's funny because I was, like, thinking the same thing. I was looking at Stafford, and I was like, sit. You had him a sit. I was like, you know what? I swear to God, I was like, he just does those things where it's like, this is gonna be one of the games where he goes out and blows up. And it's like, but it's like the process is like, the thing is like, you always gotta look at the process. It's like the process of like the defense, this and that, and like the probability of like a high score versus low score. Like the probability of a high score is very low. So it's like if it does happen, you can't be mad at that shit. Just fucking, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I'm fucking talking science today.
Dude,
look,
you
I look
are
at Matthew
talking
Stafford.
science.
My shirt matches.
Yeah.
Zoom back in. Bam. Lion.
Okay, let's go on to your sit for the week.
Yeah,
You got Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. I mean, it's a poor man's Tim Tebow, to say the least. I mean, you're banking on the rushing touchdowns. I mean, you really are, and I just don't know if you can guarantee that Atlanta, after seeing him in Week 1, and the defense for Atlanta has actually been playing better over the last month and a half.
Basically, since they fired Dan Quinn.
Basically, yes, and that's true. And they almost got like thrown the curveball with Taysom Hill, so they didn't know what to expect, and they kind of he did okay his first week, but he also had some passes. I watched that game. He had a lot of passes that could have been picked, not a lot, but a few that could have been picked off easily. So, I mean, you just go down to grade him as a passer. He's gotten fortunate the ball goes down at the 2-yard line. He runs it in at the 2-yard line. You take that stuff away. You give Atlanta a lead. Fortunately, I don't think he can do it as a passer. So I just think there's a possibility for a bust game with him. So I'm out on Taysom Hill.
And watching these highlights here, he's like on the special teams.
Yeah,
making tackles. I wonder if he's still out there.
On special teams?
On special teams.
No way.
You guys out here making tackles, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you just watched the completion percentage, too. It went down from one week to the next. I mean, Atlanta's I don't know. I think it's gonna be a bust game.
Then
you also, I think if he has a bust game, I think you have potential for Jameis Winston to come in if he's struggling and they're losing because they're in fight for position for playoff seeding.
Yeah,
so
they're in the hunt for the number 1 seed.
Yeah, so if Atlanta's like figured it out, like I could see the possibility of him getting benched.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't like my quarterback with the possibility of getting benched.
I am. You are right though about Falcons defense. It has gotten a little bit better since for the past little while. But okay, let's go on to our starts for running backs.
Oh, who's up first?
Who's the first? We got Damien Harris.
All right, Damien Harris. What's the matchup again? Sorry, remind me.
Sorry, we got Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers. So, yeah, it kind of sounds crazy to say start Damien Harris, who's a Patriots running back, but he's the workhorse. I mean, he's been taking over that role. I mean, you look at it, he's dominating carries. It's like not even close. Sonny Michel was active. I think he might have had 1 carry or 0.
Yeah, I think he had like 1 snap.
Or 1 snap, yeah. The Chargers, this is the thing why I wanted to bring this point up, is because Damien Harris is, the workhorse running back in an offense that generally needs to lead. Chargers are 3-8.
Yeah.
They're not leading very often. You think, you're looking at the game script, you're like, oh, it's Justin Herbert, the Chargers. They're not winning games. So what do you want when you want a running back who's going to get, who's a workhorse, early down running back? You want a positive game script. So you have the Patriots playing the Chargers. So I think they lead in this game, or at least competitive a lot. Damien Harris has been dominating. The Chargers defense is not what they were last year because of injuries. So I like Damien Harris as like I think he's off the radar. But I love the touches this weekend. I love the touchdown upside. He got the work in the goal line last week. James White just happened to get the ball like when they just didn't stuff it up and they threw him in there. So he could have easily had 1 or 2 touchdowns last week. So, I like Damien Harris this week.
Put him in. Put Damien Harris in, huh? Let's go on to the next one here. We got my guy. We got J.K. Dobbins. We got Ravens taking on the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are giving up 21.6 fantasy points to the running back position. No Mark Ingram still. Gus Edwards didn't really get it fully done against Pittsburgh. I think J.K. Dobbins comes back this week. Absolutely kills it. Dallas has given up 12 touchdowns to rushing to running backs. They actually have given up 0 receiving touchdowns to running backs, but I think J.K. Dobbins comes in there, dominates, is the starting guy there, and just takes all the touches and runs with it. No Justice Hill or Gus Edwards, I don't think. I think they control the clock. It doesn't seem like they really like go Lamar Jackson when they're going to be up. You know what I mean? That's just my perspective.
Good game script.
Yeah. Great game
Yeah, I'm
script.
interested to see what they do with him because they seem to give him the reins.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Prior to COVID. So, I mean, if he gets it,
it's going to be a horny play.
this is a nice week if you have J.K. Dobbins, like if you're in the playoffs, because it's like you can. If he doesn't get the workload, you're like, okay, I can't trust him in the playoffs. If he gets another full workload, you're like, he might be the reason I win the playoffs.
Right.
Like, legitimately. So it's like, that's where it's like, this is a nice week to fortunately for owners, we get to see week 13. Either back-to-back weeks of him being a heavy workhorse in this offense, or it's back to Baltimore, you can't trust it. So, but I love the matchup with Dallas, and so I like him too.
I think it's their guy. They can't throw the ball. I mean, Marquise Brown had that one, but it was like that was Terrell Edmonds really fucked up that on coverage.
And it's like the floor is not that bad, even if he's in the more of a timeshare, because it is Dallas's defense, and they do struggle against the run. So, I mean, even if he gets only 10, 12 carries, I mean, he's been hyper effective. So it could easily be 10, 12 carries for 80 to 90 yards, a touchdown, or a reception. So he could still easily blow up on you. Yeah. But if he's a workhorse against Dallas, whew.
Yeah, it's horny, right, guys?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Let's go on to the next one here. We got Tyler's guy, David Montgomery.
Yeah, we'll go with David Montgomery right here. Now, this is kind of maybe, more obvious than not, but I mean, I'm just saying I have faith in David Montgomery. I think, Mike, we were talking about it last week, how we like the matchup for him, and you were playing him last week. He gets his first 100-yard rushing game of the season last week. Gets another money matchup right here against the Detroit Lions. They're terrible defending the run. They actually give up the most rushing touchdowns in the NFL and the 5th most rushing yards per game. They're giving up 133 yards on the ground, the Detroit Lions are. So, yeah, I do like this game. I'm expecting the Bears to be up, and he's getting a ton of, touches. I mean, he's 12th in rushing attempts on the season, and he's got the 8th most receptions in the NFL right now for running backs. Since Tariq Cohen went down with the torn ACL, they've really incorporated him in the passing game. I think it's just nice to finally see that because it just gives him a safe floor, I feel like, with the all-purpose yards of the rushing and the receiving yards each and every single week. I mean, he's not the sexiest name. He's not going to give you like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey numbers, but I feel like, if you just need a solid RB2 who's maybe not going to win you your week, but he's not going to lose you your week. I think that's what David Montgomery is each and every week. And I mean, his playoff schedule is one of the best in the entire NFL. I think he's one of those guys where you just throw him in there as like your RB2 and, he's going to give you a safe floor. You're not going to be mad at it. He kind of reminds me of like what Lamar Miller was a couple years back with the Texans, just a guy where, he's always going to finish, between, 12 and 24 in that range on a week-to-week basis. It's just someone, you can play with confidence.
Yeah, Lamar Miller was that guy who was like, he was like, oh, Lamar Miller. But then you look at his numbers and you're like, oh, he actually puts up like decent numbers every week, or like throughout the season.
Yeah, like like, oh man, Lamar Miller won me my game. You're just like, oh, but Lamar Miller got me 15.
He kept you in it, maybe.
Yeah, he did his part.
Yeah.
He Bill Belichick, just do your job.
Yeah, he wasn't the Devante Adams, just like winning you your week, but he wasn't not that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Is Devante Adams number 1 wide receiver?
I feel like he has to be.
He's number 1 in all of Kazakhstan.
Number 1.
But he missed 2 weeks.
Yeah, that guy's good.
Yeah, and he's still murdering it. I mean, I did that. Actually, I didn't bet it. I thought I did, but it didn't go through. But it's like I bet that one where it's like every week it's Devante Adams like always scores right at the beginning of every game. It's like it's almost like the game starts and then 5 minutes
if you
in,
bet like every week, like him
to be the first player to score. Yeah, it's like the best prop.
Yeah,
it literally is the best prop because it's very high probability. But this is my start. Is Johnathan Taylor, the Colts rookie running back. So they're going up against the Houston Texans. The Texans are giving up to the rushing running back. They're not really giving up receiving touchdowns. They actually guess how many. Actually, I did this to Tyler earlier, but guess how many?
You'll never guess it.
No,
never guess it.
Guess how
Tom
many?
Brady.
Fuck.
Guess how many receiving touchdowns to running backs the Texans have given up on the year?
Tom Brady.
No, guess.
Tom Brady.
Anthony.
Do you have an answer?
No, because you know the answer.
What's the answer?
0.
They've given up. Yes. Jesus Christ. Can you guys play this game right for once? You're supposed to be shocked.
Got a good
I
brain.
like the way you said it. I knew it was 0.
Yeah. Well, I said it earlier, and what did you say?
You weren't even like you were
You
like
said
okay.
12.
I think the way you worded the question
I
was
think
poorly.
you should have worded it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so who has more receiving touchdowns than throwing a running back versus someone? Because they're like, can you guess how many passing? I was like, bro, it's 0.
This is Mike.
Yeah.
This is Mike when he was trying to ask me the question.
Down.
Tyler.
Down.
God damn
Fuck
it.
it.
All right, listen. So, anyways, Johnathan Taylor going up against the Texans. Texans have given up 14 touchdowns on the year to the running back position on the ground. They've given up 0 receiving touchdowns to running backs. So that tells me that Nyheim Hines is going to have a higher chance of not scoring. No, I think Jordan Wilkins should be out this week. So that being said, I think Johnathan Taylor has the green light in my eyes to just go out there and dominate and run the ball like Hansel. Also, by the way, I'm pretty sure 2 players on the Texans got busted for PEDs, so that means that they're going to be shittier, I think there's more players on that team that also were taking steroids, and they have to cut it out. So, just saying.
Dude, good analysis.
Good analysis. Because the strength and
Dude,
conditioning
that's why
coach.
you're so smart.
The strength and conditioning coach is roided out like crazy if you look at him.
He's not like the Dolphins' offensive line coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, good matchup for Johnathan Taylor. I like it a lot. I mean,
know-
like you said, he
coked
got
up.
22 carries last week against, or 2 weeks ago against Green Bay. He didn't play last week because he was on the COVID list, but he came off of it. So we'll see if they give him like the workhorse role, and give him another like 20 carries. I mean, when the guy's been given the carries, I feel like for the most part, he's putting up and producing some numbers right here. I think it's just a little frustrating because you'll see Nyheim Hines get mixed in, Jordan Wilkins will get mixed in, and it's like, man, can you just give this guy, can you give him like a David Montgomery workload, where he's getting 20 carries and see what he could really, accomplish with that. But
Yeah. But all right, let's move on to the next one. Sorry, I'm like holding us up. We got Frank the Tank Gore.
Frank the Tank, I mean, just copy and paste what you guys just talked about, David Montgomery. It's not going to be sexy. It's not going to be effective. It's going to be volume-based, and it's going to be, hey, Frank Gore, last 2 weeks, half-point PPR, 14.1, 10.1. LaMichael P. Ryan is down. That's the reason why he's getting extra workload. So
Fulgham gets the loves Frank Gore.
and he plays the Raiders, so it's a good matchup. So he played the Chargers in Miami, who were average matchups, similar, comparable to what he has now. But I mean, if the Jets fall inside the 5 for some reason, Frank Gore is going to get both touchdowns. So he actually has like a decent low key upside, and he has a decent floor. Sounds crazy.
Could give you the AP, like an AP game from last week on Thanksgiving or 2 weeks ago, maybe whatever.
Yeah,
where he had found the end zone twice.
There's some names out there who I would consider like over Frank Gore. Like I would actually consider Frank Gore over Zeke.
Yeah,
I know it's your sit.
yeah.
But I would, if I was in a
That's
playoff
wild.
desperation like thing, because to me it's like, what is Zeke's upside right now with the offense
Not good.
against the Ravens? What is Frank Gore's upside? Oh, he runs for 18 carries for 78 yards, 2 receptions for 32 yards, and he falls in the end zone once or twice. Sounds stupid, but this is like where you have to. I don't give a fuck like what the past is. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I have to evaluate the situation day on day basis. So sounds crazy, but I would consider it.
It's probably dirt cheap on like daily fantasy too. So if you want to like stack up on some of the other positions, you can probably just throw Frank Gore in there as your RB2, like you said, and it won't. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to get him into your lineup.
Dolphinately.
Like I say, you just look at volume, like we were talking about. You guys talked about David Montgomery in a second. Volume, opportunity, it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
If he produces, it's nice. If he doesn't, it's still decent.
Yeah. Should have a safe floor.
Yeah.
The safest floor. Okay, let's go
Frank
on
the
to
Tank.
let's go on to the next one from.
Sorry, I got excited.
No, you're good. Go on to the next one from Frank Gore. We got Myles Gaskin.
Carol Baskins.
I'm with you on this one. I like this.
Killed the Bengals, whacked them.
Nice.
Yeah, I like Myles Gaskin right here. He was one of my starts last week. He didn't play. He was a game-time decision. But I think he ends up playing this week. I mean, they kind of need him to play. He's like the last man standing over there. I mean, you have Savon Ahmed and DeAndre Washington. They're both banged up. They're both doubtful. So they're not going to play. Matt Breida was just placed on the COVID list, so he's out. So you're pretty much down to Patrick Laird and Myles Gaskin.
That's a pickup, by the way, Laird. If he's out.
Yeah. Because, Laird would be the last man standing. But I do think Gaskins comes back. I was watching some videos. He was practicing with the first team all week. So I think maybe they're just kind of being cautious with him last week. I think there's a better chance that he plays this week than he doesn't. And if he does play, he's in my lineup. I mean, the guy's been a solid RB2 all season long, especially in PPR. He's pretty much just giving you like 10-plus every single game he's played in. And prior to him going down with the injury, he had 3 straight games where he got 20 or more touches. I mean, this Dolphins offense, we even saw with Savon Ahmed for 2 games. Like, whoever the main running back is, like, they just give that guy the ball. He's going to see 65, 70% of the snaps. He's going to get a ton of workload in a game where, Miami's minus 11.5, I think it is. So, Vegas has got us slated as, being in control, blowing them out, so more rushing opportunities for a guy like Gaskin. And the Bengals, not very good at defending the run. I mean, they're the 3rd worst rushing defense for running backs. They're allowing 136 yards per game on the ground. So, yeah, I do like Myles Gaskin this week. I'm going to bank. I'll bet my dick on it that he comes back and plays. And I like my dick. So,
Yeah, everyone does.
We said that we were part of the stats of Wayne Gallman last week, and Wayne Gallman went full Gallman. But, yeah, no, for real, though, if Patrick Laird is there, grab him just in case. If you have the space, because there is a chance that Myles Gaskin could be inactive. Everything Tyler said would apply to him.
Yeah.
Because he can catch the ball and he can run the ball, so he'll be a dual threat. Pick him up. Deep start.
Okay, here we go. We got Benny Snell Jr. Going up against Washington. Washington's defense, I talk about it all the time. Washington's defense is pretty good. I wasn't that impressed with Benny Snell up against the Baltimore Ravens. James Conner should be back. I'm pretty sure. And so that being said, I think if you picked up Benny Snell, even if James Conner isn't, I would not be pushing for Benny Snell in Week 13. I think Pittsburgh's just struggled to run the ball the whole season. They're getting a little bit better, like doing a little bit different play calling and whatnot, but I still think it's too risky. I wasn't impressed last week. I mean,
they're just throwing the ball.
Yeah.
So much. Big Ben threw 51 times.
Yeah, I mean,
on Wednesday,
and that's why it seems
Sounds
like
so weird on Wednesday.
Every week. Yeah,
Wednesday afternoon, he threw 51 times.
So weird.
The most pass attempts in
and
Wednesday
then
game
you would
history.
hear that and you would think it was an exciting game, but it was not. But yeah, like so just because they're just not running the ball, and that's why I always talk about the Steelers receivers is because of things like that. You just said like Big Ben throwing the ball 51 times. I mean, say less at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I'm sitting Benny Snell in Week 13. We can move on to the next one here. We got this is me too. Hello. I'm just a Falcons hater, I guess, this week. So I got Falcons running backs. I think I said to start the Brian Hill. Was that last week or
It was last week.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think the week just lasted so long going in through Wednesday. It like screws my head up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't work out. Falcons going up against the Saints. The Saints run defense is really good. I mean, yeah, man. Like I just don't. When it comes to weeks like this, where you're going up, I mean, the Saints are only giving up 12.3 fantasy points per game to the running back position. That's nuts, right?
Yeah, and Gurley has not been. I
Yeah.
mean, he's been just touchdown dependent. He's been highly.
He's gotten there, but
inefficient.
he's been.
I think he's been like under 4 yards per carry in like a majority of his games.
And like a lot of Todd Gurley as well is him falling in the end zone. And you're not going to get that this week, I don't think, because the Saints have only given up 3 rushing touchdowns on the year. They've given up 2 receiving touchdowns to running backs on the year, but we're talking probability going into Week 13. I'm not fucking around, not getting too cute, as Anthony likes to say. So that being said, I'm fading. I'm sitting Todd Gurley.
I mean, I like to get cute sometimes, but all right.
Yeah.
You think Gurley's gonna be in Atlanta next year? You think they'll re-sign him, or you think he's on another team?
I think he's out.
I mean, he didn't do bad. It's like,
I just think there's too much
football terms.
Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was gonna say football wise, like he didn't do bad for the team. I don't think. Like maybe that one game where he fell into the end zone, everybody's all upset about that. But
I think he'll end up there. They definitely need to draft some more running backs.
I just think he
'cause I feel
demands
like Brian Hill and Ito Smith, Kadir Wilson. Those guys aren't the answer. They definitely need to get some more depth.
Yeah,
better depth at the running back position.
I'm with you on that. Those guys are not the answer for sure.
Yeah, I think he's gone. It's like, what does he demand contract-wise? I don't think he demands what he used to, but it's still like, are you going to pay Gurley $6-7 million when you have to worry about signing Julio?
Is he just
Calvin
playing?
Ridley? I'm pretty sure Calvin Ridley's in a contract year. Could be wrong on that. It might be next year. Calvin Ridley, you got to worry about discussions with Matt Ryan again and all these other players. It's like,
I think he came in. I think next year he's.
who? Ridley?
Yeah, because I think he
I
got
could be wrong
drafted
on
the
that.
year
But I'm
after
saying
Juju.
like he's someone who you have to worry about discussing. He's in the Amari Cooper level of $100 million level. So it's like, why sign Gurley when he's not this crazy back?
Right,
so I think he's gone. I think they draft someone, to Tyler's point, in the first or second round, maybe third, and they move on. But what do I know?
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one here. We got this is Tyler's, I think. You just said Texans running backs, but I just threw Duke Johnson's tag in here.
Yeah, I'm fading the Texans running backs right here. I think they're saying that there's a possibility that David Johnson could play this week. But if not, and it's just the Duke Johnson show, I know he had a good game against the Detroit Lions last week. He caught the little wheel route touchdown pass. it was his first receiving touchdown of the year. It's pretty crazy. But, I mean, that was a money matchup right there. This is a tough matchup right here for Duke Johnson and these Texans running backs. I mean, the Colts are pretty good defense. Should be getting DeForest Buckner back. I mean, they got Darius Leonard, who's, I think, his first 2 years, he was an all-pro middle linebacker. And the guy's just a savage. But the Colts run defense pretty stout. They're only allowing 3.8 yards per carry, so that's pretty good. And then the Texans just aren't very good at running the ball in general. So it's already a tough Colts run defense against an offense that struggles to run the football in general. I mean, the Texans are averaging the second fewest rushing yards per game, and they've only had 6 rushing touchdowns on the season. I mean, I guess Deshaun Watson kind of helps snake some of those away from the running back position right there. But, yeah, I just don't like it. I mean, the Colts defense is good against pass-catching running backs, too. They don't give up a ton of receptions or a ton of points to pass-catching backs. Deshaun Watson, I get it. Duke Johnson scored a touchdown last week, but like I said, it was his first one of the year. I'm just not expecting too much from Duke Johnson or even David Johnson if they play in this matchup against the Colts.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. All right, let's go on to this one's yours as well, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm going to be fading Zeke. I get it. It's, you'd probably spend a top 5 pick on Zeke, to be a top 5 running back for you. But I think his days, or at least for this season, his days of being like a locked and loaded RB1 aren't there anymore. I mean, he's going to be playing at Baltimore against a tough Ravens defense. I mean, they're probably going to get Calais Campbell back, a couple of the defensive players that were out due to COVID. And, I mean, just for what it's worth, since Dak got injured back in Week 5, Zeke's been held to under 9 PPR points in 4 of his 6 games. I mean, that's just not very good. And then, like I said, the Ravens defense is really good. I mean, in 7 of their 11 games, they've allowed 0 rushing touchdowns to the running back. And they've only given up 4 rushing touchdowns on the entire season. That's the second fewest in the NFL. So just not a good matchup. He doesn't look good. I think we've said it a couple times off air or even on the podcast. I feel like he got paid, so he got what he wanted. He knows they're not good. Dak went down. He knows they're not going to make the playoffs. And even if they do, they're not going to win the playoffs. So I feel like he's just going through the motions. And he's just trying to get through the season healthy, get his checks and get out. I mean, the guy, he's been struggling too. He's been fumbling the ball left and right. So, yeah, I would be fading Zeke right now. I don't know, especially if you're like in a must-win situation. I think there's a lot of other running backs that you could throw out there instead of Zeke.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. It is crazy to say, but you got to win.
Yeah.
And
if it's
and
winning,
Zeke's not getting you.
Like I said, four of his last 6 games under 9 PPR points. I mean, that's not going to help me win my week and get in there. Obviously, if he comes out and he has a good game, it kind of can boost some confidence for you going into the playoffs. But man, in a game if you're like in a win and in situation, I would seriously be weighing my options.
Options.
I would seriously be weighing my options on who I have to start over Zeke. I mean, I would be starting David Montgomery over him.
I would too.
I mean, I can't just.
Would you do Damien Harris? I would.
Yeah,
that's just not PPR.
Yeah,
but half per
to me, I feel like they're the same in a sense. Of what they could do potentially.
Yeah.
Damien Harris, if Zeke doesn't fall in the end zone, he might only get you, 15 carries for 60, 70 yards. And, Tony Pollard's been getting incorporated a little bit more here and there too. So, yeah.
To me, just Damien Harris offers the pop ability. Yeah. We've seen him break out big runs. We haven't seen Zeke do that.
We've seen Damien Harris. I think he has 300-yard games on the season. I think Zeke barely got his first 100-yard game last week or 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah. What about Benny Snell or Devante Parker? Would you start them over?
Not Benny Snell. Devante Booker would be close, but that's one of those scenarios where you haven't seen him, you kind of don't know what to get. Devante Booker's a high risk, high reward. I mean, should he get, 20 touches? You would think so. In a game against the Jets where the Raiders are, I think they're -8, so they're, slated to be winning and in control of the game. So maybe they get some more ground and pound towards the end in the second half. I would probably lean Devante Booker actually over Zeke in that matchup. Would you
do Frank Gore over Zeke?
That's just.
It sounds ugly, but it's like he's literally in the same he's ranked so much lower than the guys who are getting a workload like the Gallmans, the CEHs, the David Montgomerys, but he's getting that workload and he's doing efficiency with it.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about the name. I look at efficiency. And
at the end of the day, it's fantasy football is all numbers, and if player A is not putting up, but player B is, like, I don't care who your name is.
Against Baltimore, I would probably go Frank Gore. It sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough matchup for sure against the Ravens.
I just don't know if Andy Dalton can move the ball down the field.
Interceptions. Let's go to the next one here. We got Devin Singletary. You said Bills running backs. So
Bills
Devin
running
Singletary.
backs. Yeah, let me pull up. I'm gonna pull up the numbers. Yeah, 49ers defense, not the best defense to start or your running back against. And then let's just say that Bills running backs, not the best running backs to start in general. So I believe the stat I pulled up was the 49ers have given up 6 touchdowns on the year as a total. And then the Bills have only scored 4 touchdowns in the year as a total. So you take that percentage, you dial it down to a percentage of touchdowns. I get analytical sometimes. It's like a 0.2 to 0.3% of touchdowns. Not good. You split that between 2 running backs. We average about 50 to 80 yards. You're about a 6-point average with the both of them. And then, you take last week, the defense is getting healthy. If you go to taking away Cam Akers' 62-yard run, I think it was, or 61, they would have held every running back for under 2 yards per carry. So a team that doesn't run the ball good, doesn't score in the red zone good in the running game against San Francisco, on the road, traveling from Buffalo to Arizona. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
I'm not fucking with that.
Yeah. It's pretty
At
wild
all.
playing in Arizona.
Like, my ceiling is probably 14 points, and that's if they blow up. Right. So it's like, why do I want to fuck with that situation?
Yeah.
I don't. I'm out.
I wasn't wearing my holster.
All
right, let's go. Let's go to the next one here. We got you said to sit the Colts running backs. I kind of agreed with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna sit the Colts running back. It's I know it's you talk about Johnathan Taylor and what he did in the last game, but I mean, you come to the whole season, he's only had 2 games over 20 carries. He's had 1 game over 15 points total. You're going to Houston. I think this is actually more of a defensive game than I think people were probably predicting it to be. Now, there's one thing of being on the injury report and going through practice reports. There's one thing of being on the COVID list and being on the field. You're not on the field when you're doing the COVID list. So he didn't get on the field until Wednesday. To me, it's immeasurable of his inefficiency. He's been bad as a running back. He's had a lot of inefficiencies. The practice, all that stuff, it's just the 3 running backs involved against Houston. I just don't like this scenario. I'm the one person who's always like start every running back against Houston every week. Like next week, whoever's Houston playing, that'll probably be my love. But there's just a lot of factors that are factoring in this, and I just don't like the situation of a short Johnathan Taylor week when they have not giving him a workload minus last week, and he's not been efficient, and it doesn't matter whether it's a good matchup or a bad matchup. Yeah, the Colts running backs, my sits. I don't want to start any of them.
Yeah.
If they score, I do think this is more of a defensive game, divisional matchup than people were thinking too.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
Like I said, to
it
the
could
point,
be a closer game than
I think he's had 1 game over 20 points. If you go to Johnathan Taylor,
Texans have gotten a little bit better since they fired Idiot. So
sometimes when you fire idiots, you get better.
Yeah, and that's why the Jets aren't firing him because they want to keep losing.
That's a smart move. If I was a Jets fan, but don't fire.
They want
Gase.
to get that number 1
Fuck.
pick.
Yeah.
They'll fire Gase, they'll win, and the Jaguars will get the first pick.
Yeah, that's exactly. All right, let's go on to wide receivers. Let's start it off with our starts. We got Tyler's first. We got Denzel Mims. This is a guy I actually liked. I think you were big on him before he was even drafted, Tyler.
Yeah, I think this isn't my guy, but
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it's
That's what I said.
guy, right?
It's your guy, right?
I think it's Anthony's guy, right?
Oh.
Yeah, Denzel Mims. All right.
Anthony's all in on the
Excuse-
Jets this
excuse-
week, dude. Upset or what?
Bro, you're all in on the Bears and and Anthony's all over the Jets, which is like
Upset of the week or what?
Double
Jets?
gross.
I mean,
I feel like it's so hard to lose every single game. I mean, you're a
Yeah.
professional
What's harder
player.
to lose?
You don't want to lose every game, dude. Like,
I feel like there's 2 teams the
again,
Jets
you
could
don't
beat.
care, but at the end of the day, you're a lot of these guys are still competitive. Yeah.
What do you think?
You want to win a game.
What do you think's harder to go 0-16 or 16-0?
0-16.
0-16.
You think it's harder to go 0-16?
There's only been
I think
one
it's
team who have
harder.
done both, so it's even.
Actually, no. There's been 2 teams. The Browns and the Lions did it.
Oh, yeah, they
Miami
lost.
almost did it. We went 1-15.
Yeah, great camera.
Maria overtime.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was rough here.
I feel like there's 2 games the Jets could win though. The Raiders this week, and then Cleveland in Week 16.
I think you're crazy, dude. I know the Raiders just blew it against the Falcons, but this is the Jets, man.
But the Raiders and
They're gonna
Browns
be
are one of those
angry.
teams that are just like, dude, it's the fucking Raiders or it's the Browns. So you just say that shit.
They're gonna be angry, dude. They beat the best team in football.
This is true.
Come on.
I think that game is going to be a lot more competitive than what people think it is. I mean, the Jets are plus 8.5 in terms of like a betting standpoint. I like the Jets at home.
I'm saying from the standpoint of like who could possibly lose a game that they shouldn't lose.
Yeah, I mean,
Because that happens
I
all
could
the time in the
yeah.
NFL.
It's very possible. Yeah.
So back to Denzel Mims. He's hot. This is why he's hot.
He is
I'll tell you
hot.
why he's hot.
He's so hot.
So, I mean, since coming back in week seven, 40 yards or more in each of those games. At least 7 targets in 4 of the last 5 games. So, I mean, he's the one who's – I know it sounds crappy because it's like the Jets, but he's the one who's getting targeted consistently. The last 3 games, at least 62 yards in all of them. So, I mean, it's just – in a PPR, you're getting almost 9 to 10 points out of Denzel Mims. And you have a good matchup with the Raiders. So, I like the potential dark horse upside of Denzel Mims this week. I think there's a chance that if you see 7 to 8 targets against the Raiders, that he catches a long ball or he catches something big or he scores and he goes for, let's just say he's 6 for 65 and a touchdown. I mean, it's someone who can like potentially like move you bigger, like up into your, not win your week, but potential play a role in that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm bringing him up because I think he's someone who's on a lot of waiver wires. He's in the waiver wire of the league I'm looking at specifically. So I like that shot of Denzel Mims.
Yeah, Raiders defense is not good either.
Yeah.
They're just not good.
Dude, he moves if he wants to move.
Yeah, and you're right. He's been targeted a lot. I had him as one of my starts, I think, like 2 weeks ago. Loved it. Let's go on to the next one here. We got Devante Parker. Is this one? Whose is this one?
Me. Comes down to target share, comes down to lack of other outside weapons and lack of the running game potentially. So, I mean, Cincinnati's defense is not good. So, if you're predicting Miami to win by, 11?
Yeah, they're minus 11.
Minus 11? How are they going to score? How do they score? Usually through the air. It's not. So, if we have Patrick Laird as a running back, I don't think Patrick Laird's going out there to get us to minus 11. I think it's going to be Fitzpatrick or Tua. That's why I said I don't mind either of the or Myles Gaskin if he comes back too. I love that if he comes back. So it's like,
sorry.
So it's like I'm getting to the passing game because I think even if like the running game is going to be efficient, but I think the passing game is going to be the reason that Miami wins this game. And if you follow the trend of the spread at minus 11, then passing game is going to work. Who's going to work in the passing game? Devante Parker. He fucks.
It definitely boosts Parker's value to have Fitzpatrick there.
Yeah.
I saw a video. I think it was on one of the Dolphins pages I follow on Instagram. But he was basically just telling Tua like, hey, like sometimes like these guys they're not open. You just got to throw it to them. And Devante Parker, he leads the NFL in contested catches. I mean, that's just what he does. I mean, the guy doesn't get a ton of separation, but I mean, when you throw the football up to him, he like out jumps everyone. He out high points the ball, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I think that's one thing that Tua really needs to learn on is just being able to trust Devante Parker to be like go and win those contested 50-50 jump balls. Where Fitzmagic, like he's a gunslinger, and he just chucks it up there.
He also has magic.
He's literally like
Hug it, chug it, football.
Hug it, chug it, football. Yeah, my bad. I was laughing because like sometimes you like take like phrases and you say them really funny. Like he said like instead of saying either or, he said either of the or. It just made me laugh. Yeah, I mean, you said it. It's so funny, dude. I've never heard someone say it like that. Do you hate me? All right, let's go on. We'll move on to my start. This is, you guys, I can't believe it. I took a Ravens player as a start. I'm picking a Browns receiver as a start.
this might be the first time you've actually said start outside of the running back position that you've said start a Brown.
Yeah, because I do hate on Baker Mayfield big time. Big time. But I'm not mad at it this next week. I was gonna say is the Browns had an interesting player. It was I don't remember his first name, but his last name's Hodge. It's like Cordero Hodge, or what's his name? Anyways, he was actually getting a lot of targets as of recently. But this past week, He got injured, so he should be out this week. So it pretty much leaves just like Jarvis Landry and I think Rashard Higgins. That being said, I think the Browns wide receiver, he's actually decent, and he's not like this long ball guy, so you don't have to worry about Baker having to make like hard throws to him. He catches things underneath and makes plays out of it. I could definitely see him getting in the end zone. The Titans aren't the worst defense against wide receivers, but they're not the best. So there's a high chance that that Jarvis Landry does pretty well against the Titans. Titans games also have been pretty high scoring against, like, even that Colts game. Even though they put up like 40 something points, they let up like 25 points, something like that. So I think there'll be a decently high scoring game. As long as Baker just doesn't completely like shit the bed, then I actually like it. I like Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, I mean, we were all kind of expecting Landry. You know, obviously his years in Miami, the first 2 years with the Browns. I mean, the guy's been like a PPR machine. You know, we were expecting a big year this year. Obviously, the change in the offense from Freddie Kitchens to Stefanski, you know, they want to run the ball more than throwing the ball. And then even with Odell going down, you're thinking, okay, now Landry's going to put up some crazy big numbers. And he really hasn't done anything until last week. But, I mean, to his defense and to Baker's defense, those 3 games at home, the wind was crazy. It was raining. So, I mean, just not optimal weather conditions for you to be throwing the ball and being successful at it. But like I said, last week, 8 catches, 143 yards, gets a touchdown, first of the season. I think better things are coming for Landry, especially in this week. So yeah, I like Landry a lot.
I think if he,
one of the best, like, you know, just I feel like he's one of the best yards after catch receivers in the NFL too. I mean, the guy's like, he's shifty. He can like juke people, make a miss, and then, you know, when he gets the ball, he's not afraid to, like, you know, lay the hat and, you know, make some contact.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he makes plays after the catch, like you're saying, for sure. We'll go on to Brandin Cooks. You know, I kind of put this guy in here. Me and you were talking about him off air because of Will Fuller being out. Going up against the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are actually, their defense is supposed to be really good with the what's his name? You got corners like Xavier Rhodes and whatnot there. But I do like the uptick in targets he should see now that Will Fuller is out for the rest of the season. As a Will Fuller owner, I'm very upset about it. But as a friend of someone who called out Brandin Cooks is going to be the guy there in Houston, I love to see it for Brandin Cooks. I think the Colts still, I mean, even though they have a decent defense, the Colts gave up 40-plus points to the Titans last week. So it's not impossible to put up big points against the Colts. I think Deshaun Watson's a great quarterback. I think he can make things happen out of nothing. I definitely could see Brandin Cooks just going off this week.
I mean, yeah, I love it.
Maybe it's Kiki Cutie, maybe, but, you know, I think Brandin Cooks is the guy, like you've said before.
Yeah, I think Kiki Cutie is a sneaky little play, especially in DFS. He's probably dirt cheap as well. I mean, Kiki Cutie, I think it was a couple years back, you know, had a big playoff game, I believe it was, where he had like 11 or 14 targets, something stupid like that. But, I mean, like you said, Will Fuller's out, Randall Cobb's on IR. You know, they picked the worst time to release Kenny Stills. I mean, I bet you they wish they could go back and have him right now. Over some of these other receivers they have. But, I mean, It's kind of, you know, the last man standing. And, I mean, he was already getting 8-9 targets a game, I feel like, since Bill O'Brien got fired. And that was with Will Fuller on the field. So, with no Will Fuller on the field, I'm expecting him to get at least 8-9 targets, like, locked and loaded. You know, it's a safe floor for him. And, I mean, he's been pretty consistent. After that goose egg game back in Week 4, he's had 60 or more receiving yards in every single game. And then since the Week 8 bye, he's had 80 or more yards in 3 of his last 4 games. So, yeah, I think, you know, Deshaun Watson, obviously I'm expecting the Colts to be winning this game and the Texans needing to throw to keep up. So, I mean, I'm expecting a lot of passes to go Brandin Cooks as well.
Yeah, it could definitely be like a good game script, like you're saying. What do you want to say, Dad?
Can I?
You can interject.
Interject for a second. So I'm just curious because it's like, Will Fuller's out. This is the first time I almost feel like in Brandin Cooks' career that he has to be the alpha one.
Yeah.
With no one outside of him to take away anything. So you say 8 to 10 targets is where he's been. And I like Brandin Cooks, and I drafted him in 2 leagues out of the 3 I'm in. So I was invested in him in 2 as well. So it's like, but I'm just curious, can he do a number 1 receiver role when he's the number 1 receiver with no one else? And this isn't like an indictment on the start, because I still think you start with Brandin Cooks. He's a top 24 option. This is more of just like me watching this week. Like, is he able to beat a top defense when the top defense is focused on him going forward for the playoffs? Like, if you're going to start in week 14, 15, 16, like this is I'm watching this week.
Yeah.
In a sense, like, you know, like this is the first time we've seen him with no one else. Like in New England, he had Julian Edelman, you know, other guys. In the Rams offense, he had Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. It's like, bro, it's you and no one else. So it's like, 8 to 10 targets when you had Will Fuller with something, but now it's just you. Like, what does he do this week?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious on that aspect of like the whole spectrum of like for fantasy playoffs.
Right.
Because he's someone I have,
like
and I have to consider him on like a weekly basis with like the mix of like Devante Parker, Deontay Johnson, these guys. So that's why I'm watching this pretty hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not sitting him by any means, but this is just something I want to watch personally.
Yeah, you want to see how it unfolds.
Yeah, I want to see how it unfolds with the main guy.
Yeah.
I think he just gets peppered with targets. I think Deshaun Watson is smart enough to say, hey, this is my best receiver. I need to get him the football. I mean, the guy's been so reliant outside of last year, 1,000 yards in every single season he's had, except for, last year when he got banged up and the concussion, all that stuff. So.
Yeah, but we've also seen games where he disappears.
Yeah.
So does he disappear when they fucking say, hey, beat us with someone else?
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's the same.
It's like him and then like the other receivers.
I don't know yet.
I mean, he doesn't really throw the ball to the tight ends. I mean, rarely. He doesn't really throw the ball to the running backs, rarely. And then receivers, I mean, it's him and a dumpster fire of wide receivers outside of QD.
What about Randall Cobb?
Randall Cobb would be a nice guy if you can maybe pick him up and stash him, because I think when he comes back, maybe in week 14, 15, 16, whatever it could be, he could be someone that you could probably play. But for right now, he's on IR. I think this is the second game he's out, so he probably couldn't come back until week 15, week 16. Yeah. But even then, it's like, are you going to take a shot on him then?
Right, not this week.
Yeah.
Like I said, sorry, that was just more for like not against the start, because I was still starting, but it's more for like fantasy playoffs.
I feel you. All right, let's go on to the next start. We got Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, Sterling Shepard's my guy. He was one of my starts last week, and I'm just going to roll with that train again and start him again. I mean, 7 for 64 on 8 targets last game. He continued that streak of having 6 or more receptions since his Week 7 return. I get it. Danny Dimes probably not going to play, so you're going to see some Colt McCoy here. But for what it's worth, I know it was game script or whatever it was, but Colt McCoy came in. He only threw 10 pass attempts in the relief for Daniel Jones. And Sterling Shepard saw 4 of those 10. So 40% target share. I guess small sample size. We're not sure how it'll really translate once we get into the game. But, the guys just have a super safe floor. I mean, since he came back, like I said, he's had 6 or more receptions every single week. Safe floor, especially in PPR. And then the Seahawks pass defense, they have been better, especially with Jamal Adams coming back. You get Dunlap. They got Snacks Harrison on the defensive line too. But they've allowed 222 receptions. That's the most in the NFL. And that's actually 42 more receptions allowed than the second most. So, they're just not very good at defending against these receivers. I'm expecting the Seahawks at home to be ahead in this game. I think they're minus like 10. So the Giants are going to have to be throwing the ball a lot. I think Sterling Shepard's going to be on the receiving end a lot of those Colt McCoy passes.
Colt McCoy. I think Colt McCoy's not that bad.
I was like surprised when I saw him not coming last week. I was like, dude, he's still in the league.
Yeah, I know.
He's been in the league for like 10 years, all as a backup.
I feel like it's more than 10.
It's got to be 110, yeah.
Let's go.
It's the best job in the world, backup quarterback for the NFL.
He's like Alex from BMS.
Yeah.
We got Michael Pittman Jr. Love this one.
Junior.
I'm
saying he's scored twice.
Yeah, he's about to go full junior this week. I'm starting Michael Pittman. I know he had 2 or 3 weeks ago. He had 100-yard game. I think it was on Thursday night, and then he comes out and gets you like a 50-yard touchdown the next week. So you're throwing him in your lineup because he's put up 2 good games. Then he kind of gives you a dud. Gets you 2 for 28 last week. But I'm still gonna have confidence in him. He did see 9 targets last week during that game, and that was a season high. It was the most on the team. And the Texans defense, they're just not very good. They've allowed the 3rd most touchdowns to wide receivers. And then I think Mike said earlier, one of the guys, I want to say it's Nicole Roby Coleman or something like that. I'm butchering his name, but he's one of the better or the best defensive back for the Houston Texans. He was one of those guys where he tested positive, so he's going to be out. So that just makes things even easier for Michael Pittman and these Colts pass catchers. And then one thing you like to see right here, guys, just, his yards per catch. Over his last 4 games, he's averaging 14 yards per catch or more in 4 straight games. So, if he can get me 5 catches at 14 yards per carry, 14 yards per catch, I like his upside to get you a safe floor and then potentially score a touchdown as well.
Yeah. I love Michael Pittman Jr.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see him have a full healthy season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not be a rookie as well.
He's essentially led the Colts at like 3 out of the last 4 weeks. So
yeah,
you gotta like that. You gotta like the. I think he's taken the. I don't want to say number 1, but at least the hot.
I feel like you can give it to him.
1 to 2 target share. He's either the 1 or the 2 in the wide receiver target share of the Colts offense.
Yeah.
So if you think this is gonna be a shootout and you think he's gonna see a high target share, I do like Michael Pittman this week.
Yeah.
I was looking at
the Colts like him obviously too because they had a second-round pick. They drafted 2 players. They drafted him and Johnathan Taylor in the second round. But with their first second-round pick, they picked Michael Pittman. So it's like they valued him more than Johnathan Taylor at that point. Eventually, they ended up trading up to get Johnathan Taylor. But it's like that's how confident or how much the Colts liked Michael Pittman. They were like, hey, we got to get this guy. We don't want to take a chance that he slips through us.
We got to get him.
I think he's an interesting dynasty guy because we don't know where Phillip Rivers will be or who will be the quarterback. But I think he's flashing talent. So it's he's a very interesting dynasty piece.
Yeah, he's a very interesting.
We can see Ty's in a contract year. I don't think that unless he takes a massive pay cut to stay in Indianapolis, this could be the last season that Ty's with the Colts.
Very true.
Yeah, Mike, you want to talk shit?
Let's go on to this is a sit?
Yeah, this is a sit.
T. Higgins.
Yeah, I'm sitting T. Higgins.
Poor guy.
This week. I know last week, he had a decent game. He gets you 5 catches for 44 yards. He gets a touchdown at the end to kind of save the day for your fantasy team right there. But, this is a tough game. Going from Cincinnati, they're going to be playing in Miami. I feel like a lot of times people don't understand, it's hot, it's humid, and the way the Dolphins Stadium's set up, they have the sun just beaming in on the opposing team's bench. But, the Dolphins' corners are good. We see it over here. Xavier Howard is actually the highest graded corner in the NFL. He leads the NFL in interceptions right now. The guy's a savage. You don't hear too much about Byron Jones, but they paid him like $15 million a year. He's getting it done. Our safeties have been pretty good as well. So just a tough matchup for these pass catchers for the Cincinnati Bengals. And then ultimately at the end of the day, you got Brandon Allen throwing the ball. I just don't trust it. He only completed 58% of his pass attempts last week for a whopping 136 yards. I think, obviously he had a good game last week. Like I said, he found the end zone, kind of saved the day, but I just can't see the upside here for T. Higgins in a tough matchup
just in
against
case
the Dolphins defense.
Yeah, just in case maybe people heard that incorrectly. That's not T. Higgins yards. That's passing yards for the quarterback.
Now now divvied up between 3 receivers and the tight ends and Gio out of the backfield.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, yeah, I just don't like it right here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So, but poor
T.
guy.
Higgins, another rookie. You said in dynasty. If we're going to be doing a dynasty draft next year, starting one up. He's definitely going to be one of those players I'm trying to get because I just think the future with T. Higgins and Burrow going forward. T. Higgins is going to be. We've seen what he could do as his rookie.
Be nice
with Joe Burrow. I can only imagine as they progress and get better, how good he's going to be going forward.
Yeah. But sit him this week.
Yeah, I'm sitting him this week.
We got Travis Fulgham. You want to sit him?
Yeah, the Travis Fulgham experiment seems to have come to an end. Kind of came out of nowhere. After posting 5 straight games with 12 or more PPR points, he's just hit a brick wall. After their Week 9 bye, he's had no more than 2 receptions in any of the 3 games, and he hasn't had more than 16 receiving yards in any of those 3 games. I just don't like it. You're getting Goddard back. You're getting Alshon's back now. Rager's back. Ertz is slated to come off on IR, so he could be back. So I think there's just a lot of mouths to feed here, where maybe at that one point Fulgham was, he was hot like Hansel because, he was getting 10, 11, 13 targets a week, but it was kind of like he was the last man standing. now I feel like there's just a lot of weapons for Carson Wentz to kind of spread the ball around to. So, yeah, I'd be fading Fulgham. It's just too inconsistent for me to trust in a must-win game potentially for some of these teams. And then going into the fantasy playoffs, I can't rely on a guy to give me one catch for 8 yards.
Yeah.
That's just, yeah.
All the Eagles fans were like, dude, you have Carson Wentz. Hello.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to be, as we would say.
It's definitely a no for me, though.
Definitely a no. All right. Well, let's go on to the next one here. I think this is Anthony staying on the same side.
It's somewhat like copy paste of what Tyler just said, but it's like, you know, you hear like the Xavier Howard, the Byron Jones, Nick Needham is in the slot is also another guy who's not one to fuck with. Let's just say that. So it's just Miami cornerbacks are not good. It's just bad matchup. You saw, last week 6 targets, 3 receptions for 15 yards. We just pointed to the amount of quarterback yards, divvy it up. You beat Miami on the ground. You don't beat them through the air. Yeah. So Tyler Boyd, not a good start this week.
It just sucks because Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, these guys were just balling with
They were doing really well.
They were like, set it and forget it. And now, like I said, T. Higgins scores a touchdown last week. But, I mean, it is nerve-wracking to see Brandon Allen. I mean, do they end up switching back to Finley?
One of the things, like, with Brandon Allen, at least, or not Brandon Allen, but at least, like, with Joe Burrow, at least he had 3 touchdowns on the season. It's like, so you were able to, like, somewhat bank on that. But with Kyle Allen,
Brandon
Allen, sorry. The touchdown upside is so much lower, and the yardage upside is so much lower. So it's like, I mean, what's your maximum game with Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins? Is like 4 for 62 and a touchdown.
Yeah,
it's like how many touchdowns are the Bengals going to score?
Yeah, and you have to bank that. So like, if T. Higgins scores, Tyler Boyd is probably not going to score. Yeah, or vice versa. So if Tyler Boyd scores, T. Higgins is probably not going to score. So it's like if the
sit them all.
Well, it's like you're just getting like basically lucky if they do score the touchdown. So it's like, yes and no for me, dog.
Yeah. All right, let's go. We got Mike Williams. This one's yours as well.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mike Williams as like the talent and prospect, but I just know that he's up and down. And when he comes to a tough corner, I try to avoid him because it's like you're more probable to get the down. I mean, we saw when he played Miami and Xavier Howard. He's back. He's going to face Stephon Gilmore. He's going to take him away on the outside probably. So if he scores a touchdown, he'll be okay. If he doesn't, it's probably going to be like a 2 or 3 for 22. So
yeah.
I mean, we're seeing Justin Herbert. He loves Keenan Allen. I mean, I think Keenan Allen is
it's his guy.
Like, as long as Herbert's there, Keenan Allen's a top 10 wide receiver. For this, going forward.
Got him.
And then, we saw Austin Eckler come back last week. They were supposed to ease him in, quote unquote, ease him in.
Yeah,
my guy had 11 receptions.
So that's like Michael Thomas numbers, bro. That's like
I got 11 receptions, Austin Eckler. So it just,
ease him in.
Tough, like Andy said, tough matchup against Gilmore, and when you're already getting Eckler getting a ton of targets and Keenan Allen getting a ton of targets, kind of just like you said, the piece of the pie. How much piece of the pie is going to be left for Mike Williams in a tough matchup?
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, sit Mike Williams. Let's go. I got my my pretty obvious ones.
Was that supposed to be a lamb?
Yeah.
He said, This one's
that or was a little job.
Okay, this one's my more obvious one. I got Cedee Lamb. Yeah, I asked you guys if this was a little too obvious, but they're going up against the Baltimore Ravens defense. Terrible quarterback, Andy Dalton. He's good at throwing one thing and one thing only: interceptions. Hey, he's actually not that bad, bud. He's not that good. It's
obvious. Like your point threshold should be lower.
It counts for half a point.
No, instead of 10, it should be like
7, by the way, we didn't talk about who got the best.
I don't feel like it's too obvious. I mean, Cedee Lamb's he's been getting 5 targets every single game. I mean, he had a big game against
some people might be
Vikings.
Trying to flex him.
Last week, obviously, not the greatest game against Washington.
I have him in a league, and I thought about it for a second.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's been, super consistent, for majority of the year. Obviously, the change of quarterbacks doesn't help. They've 3 or 4 different quarterbacks on the season. So yeah, I don't think it's like an obvious sit him.
Yeah,
but yeah, a tough matchup for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, how many guys are you starting to see them over?
All of
it just
them.
depends on your depth. I mean, if you're like in a 3 wide receiver league, stuff like that. I mean, he could be like a 3rd wide receiver potentially. But
Who'd you rather play, Cedee Lamb or Christian Kirk?
I'll go.
Those both suck.
At least Kyler Murray can hit him deep.
Yeah.
Against the Rams, though.
Because Andy Dalton will throw an interception.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so just.
I'll go Kirk on that one.
Yeah. Just with Andy Dalton
But
throwing
yeah,
the
state
ball.
your
That was
claim.
a good
What were you
question,
gonna
though.
say?
Would you go?
just-
Okay, so would you go the guys like we just talked about? So Tyler Boyd or T. Higgins over CeeDee Lamb?
I'd
Or like, where would
Boyd
you go with
over.
one of those?
I'd go Boyd, CD, Higgins.
I think I'll go Lamb overall, both of them.
Yeah.
I just think there's a chance that Andy Dalton throws for 2 or 3 touchdowns versus where
Brandon Allen's upside is 136 yards.
one. So it's like, yeah, I'd lean Lamb. That's ours. I just thought it was like, I was like, I'll bring it.
Yeah. No, you good. Just shit on my fucking pick, dude. We got Jakobi Meyers, the Patriots wide receiver. This one might be more or less obvious than the last one, but I think that the guy is not going to have the week that you want him to in week 13 if you start him. Patriots going up against the Chargers. Chargers defense is supposed to be good on paper. They definitely have given up some games, I will admit, but they're one of more stout defenses, ranked 6th against the wide receiver position with fantasy points per game. They have allowed 10 touchdowns, but they're up there on shutting down wide receivers. They've only allowed 121 receptions, which is actually one of the lowest in the league. It's the 3rd best, actually tied with the Patriots, which is on the other side of the ball. But so Jakobi Meyers going into week 13. Also, Patriots offense is very stagnant. It seems like, I don't know how they beat the Cardinals last week.
Yeah,
actually.
Cam has just been terrible to say the least.
He does like to tag Jakobi, but it's like it seems like it's just Jakobi and N'Keal Harry's there, and he'll get a couple targets, but it's like he won't catch anything. So he doesn't really like spread the offense out. So I'm gonna sit Jakobi Meyers week 13.
I like it.
You like it? All
I
right.
like it.
Let's go on to the tight end position, boys. We're going starts first. I got mine. We got Kyle Rudolph. Kyle, was it 2 years ago he did the kind of the same thing where he just showed up out of nowhere?
I want to say maybe last year.
Yeah, right at the end of the year, he kind of did the same.
Thielen was banged up in games when Thielen missed. He was pretty productive.
Which is kind of what we got going on right here. But Kyle Rudolph. Sorry, hold on one second. God, where am I?
I think it would help if Irv Smith doesn't play. If
Yeah.
Irv Smith's there, then obviously you're kind of sharing.
That's the thing. It's like
you're in a tight end committee basically with those guys. But if there's no Irv Smith, then yeah, he's kind of. We saw it last week. What did he get, like 7 for 84 or something like that?
Yeah, he was like a PPR monster for a tight end.
Kyle Rudolph, or the Jaguars have given up 9 touchdowns on the year, which is the most. That's actually tied for the most to the tight end position. They're averaging 10 points per game to the tight end position. I mean, it's a good matchup against the Jaguars. Jaguars, say less. They got nothing going on. Kirk Cousins, he was my start for the week, so it only makes sense for me to push it forward and have Kyle Rudolph be my tight end. I'm gonna come in full circle towards the end of the podcast. It's a circle.
It's a circle.
It's a circle.
Never
The
ending.
ling is like a circle.
It's a circle. So light it up, baby. All right. Let's go on to the next one here. Where are we at here? We got Robert Tonyan. This is Anthony's guy here.
Look at the
Tonyan.
numbers again. 1 second. First off, it's Tonyan. So get that shit straight.
Tonyan.
Like my set I had on Tonyan is like he's done well in Green Bay matchups, and this is another Green Bay matchup. I think he had like at least 10 points in 3 of the 4 matchups where he was a green rated matchup. And, I mean, Darius Slay's going to stop Devontae Adams for one route.
Yeah, did you see what DK did to Darius Slay on Monday night?
Yeah.
No disrespect to DK, but Devontae Adams is just
So I'm like
better than DK.
This is what I mean, it's like he's actually. Let me pull up the stats. So he's actually been like a decent targeted like tight end for tight ends. So that's what it comes down to. It's like I was looking at the numbers. I was like, fuck. I'm like, who do? I was gonna go Kyle Rudolph, and I was gonna go with some of these other guys, but. I mean, in the green rated matchups or matchups above 20, 3 targets or 4 targets, 5 targets, 6 targets. He's been at least 4 targets in this matchup. So at least they know that, like, hey, we have a good matchup in this. And Philadelphia, 22 ranked offense or defense as far as that goes. So Aaron Rodgers, 33 touchdowns in 12 games, I think it was. So he's on pace for 2.75 touchdowns per game. So I'm just playing probability when it comes down to it. I think he has a better chance of scoring in this game than most. And I think there's a chance that Darius Slay, if they get in the red zone, has a smaller, better chance than stopping Devontae Adams, which no one does. But so it's like I'm kind of banking on like tight end sucks. But I think if there's a week he has a better chance of scoring, I think it's this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. We'll go on to Tyler's start. We got Jordan Reed.
Yeah, I'm going to dial up Jordan Reed right here. I mean, last week, not the best game, but, I mean, he's coming off back-to-back games where he's seen 6 targets. He's only playing around 45% of the snaps, but for what it's worth, him and Dwelly are out there, sharing some snaps at the tight end position. For what it's worth, he's out-targeted Dwelly 12-4 in the last 2 games. So, I mean, he's like the pass-catching tight end in this offense. And then just the matchup is money. I mean, the Bills are not very good in terms of defending the tight end position. They've actually given up the second most receptions to tight ends and the second most yards to the tight end position. So money matchup for a guy who's seeing, like I said, 6 targets in back-to-back games. I'm expecting a safe floor of 4 for 50, and then potentially falls into the end zone as well. I like him more in PPR than I guess I would say in standard, because I think I'll have a safe floor right there.
I'm with you.
Nick Mullins just missed him on a bunch of passes. They weren't even accurate. They were just all over the place. And I think we always said the thing with Jordan Reed is never if he was talented or able to put up some points for you. It was just him staying healthy. So, healthy right now. Knock on wood. So, but I think Jordan Reed will have a good game this week. Yeah.
Put him in. All right, sit. We got Anthony's guy here. We got Jared. Is this Anthony's?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We got that right. We got Jared Cook. The Saints are taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are supposed to have this bad defense. What gives? You're sitting Jared Cook?
Last week.
What?
Copy and paste what I said last week. Target share, market share, very little for Jared Cook. Who's running in the end zone? It's either going to be Kamara or it's going to be Taysom Hill. No.
What about Latavius? 2 touchdowns.
Latavius 2 touchdowns, bro.
Sorry, I forgot Latavius. I apologize for that. But it's not going to be Jared Cook.
What about Michael Thomas?
Yeah, it's fine, but it's not going to be Jared Cook.
All right. I agree. There's a lot of players there. I will
punch myself in the face if Jared Cook gets more than 4 targets.
Yeah, he's been getting outsnapped by one of the other tight ends too. I forget what his name. I think it's like Adam Trutman or something like that. Yeah. So he's losing snaps to a rookie. I mean, you got to remember too, Jared Cook's. Yeah. He's been in the league 14 years, 15 years. Yeah. He's been in the league for a minute, so he's older. Yeah. So he's an older guy, and I think it's time to pass the torch to one of these younger rookies.
He's not GMO. He's not vegan, so he needs to get out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, so not GMO, bro. We got my guy here for my sit. I got Logan Thomas. I might not be taking these. I feel like I'm going too easy. Actually, Logan Thomas had a good week last week. He scored. I think he got like 13 points.
He threw a touchdown.
Right. Why did it feels like that was 2 weeks ago? I don't know what.
I'm too low, but your variance of these guys are like.
What are you talking about, bro? Don't even come at me right now.
Let's fucking go.
Logan Thomas got 13 points for tight end. That's like 30 points for a receiver.
That's true.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't want to hear it. Going up against Pittsburgh, Tough defense. Pittsburgh is one of the better defenses just in general. Up against the tight end position, Pittsburgh's only allowing 4.1 points per game. They've only allowed one tight end touchdown on the year. I think it was Jonnu Smith maybe. Yeah, I mean that's not what I like to hear. People are talking about Bud Dupree's out with the torn ACL, so now there's going to be less pass rush. But we have some good, capable guys behind him, Alex Highsmith, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but they like him equally, and they've done well when they've had to come in. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the defense is still going to be stout, and I think you want to fade Logan Thomas in this matchup. I think this game still might be actually closer than people think.
Bet the under?
Yeah. After last week, fuck, man. I think the Steelers only hit the over maybe twice a year. I feel like. It seems like. But, okay, let's go. Jimmy Graham. This is the last one here. Tyler, take it away.
This out, baby.
Yeah, this one I'm kind of nervous actually making him one of my sits. If I'm so high on Trubisky, Jimmy Graham obviously touchdown upside, but I have it written down right here. He's touchdown or bust. I mean, pretty much how it is. In the games he scores a touchdown, he puts up some good points for you. In games he doesn't score, he's non-existent. But I mean, he's losing snaps to a rookie. He's actually been outsnapped by Cole Kmet in the last two games. Cole Kmet's actually played 70+ or more % in the last 2 weeks. So I mean, this one's like I said, I feel like this one could really come back and bite me in the ass. Because he does have some touchdown upside, Jimmy Graham, in a good matchup for Trubisky. But
and he's faster.
I just don't like it.
Than you.
Yeah, and he's faster than me. That's not a joke. But yeah, I just don't like it. I think I'd be looking elsewhere at the tight end position if I could.
I agree.
Man, these old school Jimmy Graham highlights went on Saints though. I mean, how good was he for that? 3-year stretch. I want to say.
I had him on Thanksgiving game when he played the Lions or some bullshit. He had fucking 30 points. This guy's man.
Bro, he came out of nowhere too, and he just exploded. Man, yeah, the guy was.
Well, this is why I put this up here because it's this is 3 teams ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
like 7 years ago.
So that's what I mean is I'm trying to hype you up. It's bro. The he's donezo. That's it. Yeah. It's over.
It's over.
It's over for the guy.
It's over.
Well, that's the thing. He's over. Dude, I like it. I think those are some.
Everyone who's played basketball and can dunk has gotten drafted.
Bo Alley Cox played one snap in a college football game. He's a basketball
player like Jimmy Graham, bro. He could dribble and he could fucking dunk, bro.
That's funny, man. By the way, can I beer bet you on the Jared Cook?
Yeah, what do you want to beer bet?
I beer bet that Jared Cook scores a touchdown.
Oh, I'll take that. ×2.
It's a whole dude.
All right.
So
×2, so I get what? You have to chug 2 beers?
Yeah.
All right. I'm writing it down on this board. Once it's on this board.
I'll do ×3.
×3?
Yeah. Say a word. Say one more word. I'll do ×4.
Word.
Okay, ×4.
So Jared Cook touchdown?
Yeah.
All right. It's going on. 1 touchdown. Beer bet.
Taysom Hill's going to look his way and then be like, nah, Jared, sorry.
Bro, you're going to be like, oh, fuck, Mike. And you're going to be like, bro,
the guy who said
I need to work out.
The guy who said 1 target in 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm scared about that.
All right, dude. We'll see. Anyways, all right. Thanks for listening. This has been the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 3, Episode 78. We're going over Week 13.
Thank you very much.
Start sits. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter.
Wait. Mike.
Get it. Nice.
Playoffs.
Listen, it's you know who to start, who to sit. If you have any questions, let us know. Reach out, leave us a comment. Tweet at us, whatever you got to do. We got your back, fantasy football wise.
Like chiropractic.
Yeah. So, that being said, us big boys are out.
Hadouken!